is your oldest son. This is your younger son. And that's your Prabhu. I asked your Prabhu to do something today. I asked him to take Tulsi to the jars. And I felt like when he picked her up, she went, like that. He has soft heart. Beautiful soft heart. I wonder who this Prabhu is that shaped up.
That's Raja.
Who?
Raja. Mother Raja shaped up? Yes. He's getting you. Yes. What? Yes. Raja tickled my fingers.
Starting group.
Shri Guru Charana Padama Kevala Bhakati Satma Charana Padama Kevala Bhakati Satma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Satma Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Satma Bandhamoi Savadhana Pate મંદમોઈ સાવધાન માટે જહર પ્રસાદ ભાઈ એ ભવતો રિયા જાય જહર પ્રસાદે ભાઈ એ ભવતો રિયા જાય કૃષ્ણ પ્રાપ્તિ હોય જહા હોય તે કૃષ્ણ પ્રાપ્તિ હોય જહા હોય તે પદ્મા વાક્યા ચિત્તે કોરિયાખ્યા ગુરુમુખ પદ્મા વાક્યા ચિત્તે કોરિયાખ્યા આરના કોરી હો માને આશા આરના કોરી હો માને આશા શ્રી ગુરુ ચરણે રાતી ऐसे उत्तमा गति श्री गुरु चरणे राती ऐसे उत्तमा गति ये प्रसादे पूरे सर्वा आशा ये प्रसादे पूरे सर्वा आशा चक्षुदान दिलो जय जान में प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जय जान में प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो प्रेम भक्ति जहा होते अविद्या विनाशा जाते प्रेम भक्ति जहा होते अविद्या विनाशा जाते वेद गाय जहा चरितो वेद गाय जहा चरितो गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधमा जनार बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधमा जनार बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया ए बेजा सगुसु त्रिभुवाना ए बेजा गुसु त्रिभुवाना शिला प्रभुपाद पतित पवाना प्रभुपाद पतित पवाना कया प्रभुपाद 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 जय शिला प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय शिला प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे
Krishna
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo. Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo. Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.
यशोमती
Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliyadamana Vidana Kaliyadamana Vidana Amala Harina Amiya Vilasha Amala Harina Amiya Vilasha Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Vara Vamsi Bharana Subasa Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Vara Vamsi Bharana Subasa Braja Janapalana Surakula Nashana Braja Janapalana Surakula Nashana Nanda Godanara Kovala Nanda Godanara Kovala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundara Nanda Gopala Sundara Nanda Gopala Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Bhakti Vinodashraya Bhakti Vinodashraya Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gokula Ranjana Kana Gokula Ranjana Kana Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo Hari Hari Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Kala Chanji Radha, Kala Chanji Radha, Kala Chanji Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha, Kala Chanji Radha, Kala Chanji Shri Radhe.
Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe.
Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Ramo Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ramo Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Rama Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Haribo. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Shri Radha Kalachanji Bhagwan ki.
Ayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astatara Sata Shri Shriman, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Shri Jai. Jainati Leela Vishnu Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astatara Sata Shri Shriman, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Ramsiko Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giriri Govardhana ki. Raja Vrindavan Dham ki. Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki. Tulsi Devi ki. Bhakti Devi ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki. Ganga Devi ki. Jamuna Devi ki. Going back home, back to Godhead ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Shukadev and Srila Prabhupada. Today's class is given by Srinath Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
And we need to start. No need to say Prema Dwani again. You don't have to do that. So we'll just maybe a short Jaya Radha Madhava and go right into the pranam to the spiritual master and verse. Because it's got to end by 8:30 sharp. Srinath Krishna, Srinath Krishna, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Okay.
Wow. Thank you. I feel like it's like the opening act before a headliner. It's like
every great band has a
opening act, right? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Damin Prabhu. Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotra Satashri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we're continuing with our daily morning Srimad Bhagavatam class from Canto 1, Chapter 17, titled Punishment and Reward of Kali. We are on text 39 today. Please repeat. Punascha yachamanaya Jata Rupam Adat Prabhu Tato Nritam Madham Kamam Rajo Vairam Cha Panchamam Punascha Yachamanaya Jata Rupam Adat Prabhu Tato Nritam Madham Kamam Rajo Vairam Cha Panchamam. Somebody want to chant? Punascha yachamanaya Jata Rupam Adat Prabhu Tato Nritam Madam Kamam Rajo Vairam Cha Panchamam. Punascha yachamanaya Jata Rupam Adat Prabhu Tato Nritam Madham Kamam Rajo Vairam Cha Panchamam. For time we'll stop with that today. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This is the word for word translation. Punaha Again. Cha, also. Yachamanaya, to the beggar. Jata Rupam, gold. Adat, gave away. Prabhu, the king. Tataha, whereby. Anritam, falsehood. Madam, intoxication. Kamam, lust. Rajaha, on account of a passionate mood. Vairam, enmity. Cha, also. Panchamam, the fifth one. Translation. The personality of Kali asked for something more, and because of his begging, the king gave him permission to live where there is gold, because wherever there is gold, there is also falsity, intoxication, lust, envy, and enmity. Please repeat. The personality of Kali asked for something more, and because of his begging, the king gave him permission to live where there is gold, because wherever there is gold, there is also falsity, intoxication, lust, envy, and enmity. Purport. Although Maharaj Parikshit gave Kali permission to live in 4 places, it was very difficult for him to find the places, because during the reign of Maharaj Parikshit, there were no such places. Therefore, Kali asked the king to give him something practical which could be utilized for his nefarious purposes. Maharaj Parikshit thus gave him permission to live in a place where there is gold, because wherever there is gold, there are all the above mentioned 4 things, and over and above them there is enmity also. So the personality of Kali became gold standardized. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, gold encourages falsity, intoxication, prostitution, envy, and enmity. Even a gold standard exchange and currency is bad. Gold standard currency is based on falsehood because the currency is not on a par with the reserved gold. The basic principle is falsity because currency notes are issued in value beyond that of actual reserved gold. This artificial inflation of currency by the authorities encourages prostitution of the state economy. The price of commodities becomes artificially inflated because of bad money or artificial currency notes. Bad money drives away good money. Instead of paper currency, actual gold coins should be used for exchange, and this will stop prostitution of gold. Gold ornaments for women may be allowed by control, not by quality, but by quantity. This will discourage lust, envy, and enmity. When there is actual gold currency in the form of coins, the influence of gold in producing falsity, prostitution, etc. will automatically cease. There will be no need of an anti-corruption ministry for another term of prostitution and falsity of purpose. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. First, we would like to welcome all the guests who have come from out of town to Sri Sri Radha Kalachandji Dham. For context, this is chapter 17, the punishment and reward of Kali. Maharaj Parikshit has been going around his kingdom and then seeing what's happening, and then he sees this personality of Kali who's dressed like a king abusing a cow and a bull. And the previous few verses talk about how Maharaj Parikshit was conversing with the cow and the bull and pacifying them, and then decided to kill the personality of Kali. And then Kali surrendered to Maharaj Parikshit, and like a Kshatriya, Kshatriyas don't really kill. When somebody surrenders to them, Maharaj Parikshit says, okay, I won't kill you, but you cannot be in my kingdom. And then Kali asks for refuge, for places where he can stay in his kingdom. And in the previous verse, Maharaj Parikshit gave him 4 places to stay. Those 4 places are where gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter are performed. Those were the 4 places that Maharaj Parikshit gave Kali to reside. But we see in this verse that Kali is asking for something more. Because during the reign of Maharaj Parikshit, there was no such place where all these 4 things were happening. So although Maharaj Parikshit gave him a place to reside, Kali really didn't have a place to stay, because none of these things were happening. So he asks for one more place where he could reside, and then Maharaj Parikshit here gives him a place where gold is present. And the Bhagavatam also says that he gave that place because wherever there is gold, there is also falsity, intoxication, lust, envy, and enmity. Quite a combo. It's like put together so many things that we don't want. And we see that when Prabhupada wrote this, it was before he came to America, right? He came with the first 3 volumes of the first canto. And at that time, most countries used to have this thing called gold standard currency. So what it meant was you could take your currency, and then if you gave it to the government, they would give you an equivalent amount of gold for that currency. So the government would not print more currency than they would have gold reserves. That's basically what it meant. So that's how it started initially. And then slowly what happened was they started printing more, right? Your currency, say, a dollar, if it had 1 gram of gold, I'm just throwing numbers here. When more currencies are printed, it starts becoming half a gram, a quarter gram, 0.1 gram. Practically speaking, the currency doesn't have any value when it starts getting printed more and more and more, right? And finally what they did, I think in America at least, in the 70s, Nixon abolished the gold standard. Practically no country in the world now has a gold standard. So what it gave was the country to print how many ever notes that they want, right? So practically the notes now have no value. And that's why we see this term inflation being thrown, right? When you start printing more notes, when there is no scarcity of certain thing, gold is very valuable. Why? Because it's a rare metal, right? It's not very easily available. So that's why it has more value, right? So when you start printing more and more notes, the value of the currency starts decreasing. And therefore we have this inflation, right? Prabhupada even goes on to say, even this gold standard is not really good, right? Even when the when the politicians started mapping the gold to the currency, the falsity started, because they knew they could start manipulating it. Right? I can start printing, and then I can start decreasing the value of the actual currency. And this is all because we clearly see the falsity in it, right? The how you say this has some value, but it really doesn't have any value. And now we've gone so far to basically see currency as bits in a computer. That's basically what it is. It's nobody even uses the notes anymore, right? It's all numbers in a computer where things start getting exchanged. So what value do we have even there? And when there is lots of gold, the other things follow, because you easily have the opportunity for intoxication. The first thing is you're intoxicated just by money, right? Just by the currency. And you have free access to do anything that you want. And therefore, that can lead you in a spiral. And then what that does is, can we turn off the wireless mic if that's still somewhere? I think that's what's cracking. Yep. So, anyway, so lots of money basically gives access to things that we could do, right? And this is the question that Arjuna is asking Krishna also in the third chapter of the Gita. So Krishna is basically talking about Sthitadhir Muni, somebody who is very stable in his practice of Krishna consciousness, right? And he's describing how he walks, how he sits, how he speaks, and all that. And then Arjuna asks this question, Krishna, I completely understand everything that you say, right? I know I should not do any of the things that you're asking me not to do, but still I'm impelled to do it, right? And what does Krishna say is the cause of lust, right? It is lust that causes us to do things even if we know that we shouldn't do it. And Krishna's prescription for that is what? We have one kind of philosophy in this world, right? I have something that I really want to enjoy. Once I enjoy to the maximum, then I'll be completely satisfied with it. I won't have to go back to it again, right? I really like something, I just need to experience it once, and once I experience it, I won't have the taste for it anymore, right? Have you heard of this? Yeah, that is basically what Krishna is saying. Yes, this is exactly what Krishna says also, right? If you start feeding your lust, it's basically like pouring gas on fire. So initially what happens when we pour gas on fire? It seems like the fire has died down, right? But then few seconds later, it's blazing. The fire starts blazing. So this is the problem, that when we have access to excess gold, then we have this propensity where we can start enjoying and start satisfying our lust. And Prabhupada makes this comment that gold ornaments for women may be allowed by control, not by quality, but by quantity, right? This is regulation, right? It's not that we cannot have it, but we just need to regulate what we have. This is basically what Krishna says in the third chapter also. It's only by regulation that we can start controlling this lust, right? And we know this sequence of when we hit lust, it's a point where it's irrevocable. You cannot move beyond it, right? Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kama kama krodho bijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibrama smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. So this is the sequence that Krishna is giving us. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa, that it first starts with contemplation. On what? The senses start contemplating on the object of the senses, right? Once we keep doing that, we start developing attachment to the object of the sense. And then once we keep contemplating after having attachment, it turns into lust. It could be anything, right? Lust essentially means that we are at a point where we definitely need to satisfy that desire. you cannot get out of it. It could be lust for anything, lust for power, lust for prestige, honor, lust for money, control, anything. But at that point, at the point of lust, you just cannot come back from it. You definitely need to satisfy it. But Krishna says that after lust, it eventually turns into anger. It's unavoidable. This is Krishna's sequence, right? Why does lust turn into anger? Yeah, one easy thing is you're very frustrated by what? By what you get. One is or that we've lost it. Yeah, that. So we're so attached to something that we get it, and then the minute we lose what we get, we're so frustrated by it. We cannot take that thing that has been taken away from us, right? Or we get something that we really, really wanted. We were so attached to it. But then we're so frustrated because it doesn't meet our expectations, right? I really wanted the new latest and greatest phone that I really was thinking about for 6 months. I finally got it. It doesn't really live up to my expectation, right? It could be the same with relationships. It could be the same with anything that we are trying to satisfy ourselves, right? And the other thing is we're not even able to get it. We're so attached to it. We're trying to somehow satisfy, but somehow we're not able to satisfy it. So therefore, it's problematic. It results in anger. And when we are angry, we lose our intelligence. And when we act without intelligence, we're completely bewildered and we're in illusion, and this entire downward spiral begins, right? So we have to stop it before it gets to the point of lust. If we don't stop our desires before it gets to the point of lust, it is practically impossible. And the places where the enemy has conquered, Prabhupada says in the purports, the enemy has strategically conquered these spots in our body. This is the senses, mind and intelligence. These are the places where lust sits, right? And unless we start purifying this, it is impossible but to not fall under the nefarious purposes of Kali. Like Prabhupada puts it. It's amazing how Prabhupada's purports are like prose poetry. The words that he uses are so nice. So, in the times that we live in, basically it is wealth, right? Gold, the equivalent of it is wealth. And as the Dallas community, we are 99.99% grihasthas. So we have access to this, right? And this is the only ashram that actually has this active duty to generate wealth and support the other ashrams in the society. But if we are not really careful with how we deal with wealth, then it could lead us into this plot that Kali has hatched. We could start getting influenced by all these qualities if we don't use wealth properly. And this is how Prabhupada talks about materialists, right? And he gives the example of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu literally means gold and soft bed. This is basically what the materialists are interested in, Prabhupada says. So we have to be very careful with this, on how we deal with these things. And the actual way, the proper way to use it is in the service of Krishna, right? Wealth is nothing but Lakshmi Devi, and Lakshmi Devi should always be used in the service of Krishna, should never be separated from Krishna. And we know what happens if we try to separate it from Krishna. We see in the case of Ravana that he wanted Sita Devi for himself, and it didn't end well for him or anybody who were close to him. And in the age of Kali, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Kali kukura kadana yadi chao he, right? If you really want to get rid of this dog-like personality of Kali, he says, sing the names of Gaurahari, right? Sri Shachi Nandana Gaure, right? So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. This is the protection that we have from the personality of Kali in the times that we live in. He's got the Aushadhi, the medicine for us, which is the Harinama Mahamantra, Lao Tumi Magi. Right? He says this. So, and we have this by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, that these holy names have been spread far and wide in the world. And we have such easy access to the holy names of the Lord. And today we're going to see amazing devotees taking shelter of the holy names, right? By surrendering their lives and taking Harinam Diksha, which is going to start quite soon. And this is an amazing, amazing day for them and for all of us, like Nityananda Prabhu says, when we are in the midst of devotees committing their lives to the chanting of the holy names and avoiding these principles that Kali is residing in. This is basically what we're promising today, right? When we're getting initiated. And at that point, Krishna takes over our life. As long as we follow the principles and chant the holy names of the Lord, then we're completely under the control of Krishna. This is Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Dhuratyaya Mamevaye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. Right? This Daivi Hesha Gunamayi, Krishna says that this material nature is still divine energy of mind. It is still coming from Krishna. Right? Prabhupada says this is the thankless job of Maya Devi, that she has to put the living entities in miserable condition. By ourselves, it's incredibly hard to cross this ocean of material world. But Mam Evaye Prapadyante, when we surrender to Krishna, Maya Metam Tarante, we can easily cross over this ocean of material world. So, if you can, please stay back for the initiation program. Maharaj is going to, I think, start at 9 o'clock. So we'll stop here. We have 10 more minutes, and if there are any questions or comments, we can take it. Yes, Mataji. Do you want to go? Yes. Hare Krishna.
Does it mean that we have to avoid accumulating wealth, or that we accumulate it and use it in Krishna's service? For example, if I have the intention of accumulating wealth for the service of Krishna, is that a bona fide desire, or is it just serve Krishna and then whether the wealth comes or not, we use it in his service?
Yeah, this is like the chicken and egg question, right? We have to be a little careful when we might, unless we are not really strong, the tendency to accumulate wealth and serve Krishna could go south. We have to have really good association to keep us on track, saying, hey, you're going a little bit too far, and you might want to pull it in. And we can easily see this when Rupa Goswami says 6 things that actually will spoil bhakti. Atyahara, prayasasya, prajalpo, niyamagraha, jana sangascha laulyamcha, shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. He says 6 things that will completely destroy bhakti. So, this is the first point, right? Atyahara, that over-collecting or over-endeavoring. So, we have to decide, because it could be different for different people, right? For some people, they could really go hard at things, and they could still balance the other aspects of life. But for some people, they get so absorbed in that endeavor to start accumulating things that they forget what the main purpose of it was. And ultimately, when we surrender to Krishna, Krishna will decide what is good for us. Right? We try to endeavor and leave it up to Krishna on what he wants to do with us. And we see this in the case of Srila Prabhupada. Right? He tried and tried and tried to generate so much money, set up companies, but Krishna practically took everything away from him. And then he gave him so much, practically so much money when it was the right time. where Prabhupada could completely utilize it in spreading the movement, right? So it's a fine balance, I think. Yeah. Mataji.
No, come on. I'm old. Old person here. Come on. You have any questions? You guys? Somebody else put their hand up. No? Okay, so you were saying that we need to solve the problem of that lust. So what do we do if we find ourselves in a situation where we're like, we know that we're just lusting over something? So what do? We just offer it to Krishna instead. Is that the formula?
Yeah, so when we are at the point of lust, basically Krishna says it's at that point it's very hard to come back. So what Krishna is saying is the three places where lust are present, mind, intelligence and the senses, you start with the senses. Because you see this picture in the Gita where you have this chariot with the 5 horses. The 5 horses are the senses, the chariot driver is the intelligence, the reins of the horse is the mind, and the passenger is the spirit soul. So this is the hierarchy basically. The senses should ideally be controlled by the mind, should be controlled by the intelligence, and intelligence, Prabhupada says, is the next door neighbor to the spirit soul. It's so close, right? So the spirit soul guides the intelligence. So the easiest thing to start doing is to regulate your senses, right? At the point where we've hit lust, at that point it's very hard to do it. Okay, we go through the spiral, but again, when we start contemplating on those desires, we either chop it off right there and say, hey, this is not really good for me. I've been down this path, right? If I start contemplating on these desires, I know where I'll actually end, or dovetail those desires by using them in the service of Krishna. Right? Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. This is basically bhakti. Using our senses in serving the master of the senses. So we start there, and then slowly we will get to a point where, like the 6 Goswamis in Vrindavan, they had to be reminded, right? Initially when we all, at least me when I joined the movement, prasad was is still a very attractive thing for me. Having prasadam. And then it starts purifying our senses. And then when we get purified over time, we'll get to a point where they had to remind the Goswamis, you have not had anything for 4 days, and have a little cup of buttermilk at least, right, to keep your body and soul together. Because we're so engrossed in our service that we start forgetting about the other things that we were so involved in the beginning. Right? This is the transformation that will definitely happen to us when we start following the process. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Anyone else over here? He's got about 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, I think.
Any other question?
If there are no more questions or comments, I think we should.
Come on, nobody has any interest in gold at all, right? Not one interest. Where?
Oh, I didn't know that. Hare Krishna Prabhu. You should be, I didn't know you could have come and given the class.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
First of all, thank you so much for very beautifully encapsulating the whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness, using the text of Bhagavad Gita to very beautifully present this section. Thank you so much. I'm very, very honored to be here at the lotus feet of Shri Radha Kalachandji. Wonderful devotees here. I don't know what to add, but I'm just blessed to be in the presence, and thank you so much for very beautifully presenting this section. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for coming to Radha Kalachandji Dham. And thanks to all the devotees who have traveled from far. And I think we should stop now. I think we should give some time for the initiation setup to happen, and then Maharaj will start at 9 o'clock today, I think. So, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha kalpatarubhyasya, Kripa sindubhya vacha, Patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.
No.
Tell him I stopped.
Yeah, he's stopped. So, so
I stopped my class. I wanted to do it much before. Yes, I'll set it up. No problem. It's all going fine. Do you want me to like stop and start it when it's okay? You stream or what do you want to do? Or we can let's cut it separately. Let it go through. We can cut it later. I'll make sure. Yeah. Stop it now. Okay, sorry.
So you will take care of that.
Yeah.
So Maharaj, you know, पहले एक बात बताइए, ऐसा ये एंगल रहेगा?
So you have the camera there.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
No?
Yes.
So as long as the initiates can get the beats here, no?
Yeah.
Like at least their side will be visible.
Okay.
No? And
Yeah.
Maharaj can be here.
Yeah.
And then if they keep it like this, we can focus that camera here.
Correct. So I'm placing my own camera also in addition to that.
Okay. And then that way they can pay obeisance to Maharaj like this.
Okay.
They don't show the back to
Correct,
the
correct,
deities.
correct.
And then they can sit like this, little bit on the angle.
Yes.
That way they're not showing the back.
Okay.
I think this is how we did for Jayapati Maharaj.
Okay.
So just make this arrangement there.
Sure.
And,
Sure. So this will be here, like where I am right now.
yeah. Yeah, I think this is good.
This is good? Okay. Yeah, with the seats. With the seats.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. If I may request, the first initiates to come assemble there real quick. First initiates. Hare Krishna. If I may request all the first initiates, only the first initiates. All the first initiates, if you may. Hare Krishna, if I may request the first initiates, the Harinam Diksha initiates,
Krishna.
if they can assemble here.
Hare Krishna. Hari Hari.
It sounds good. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. All the first initiates are requested to come to the back of the temple room. Hare Krishna. All the first initiates, please come to the back of the temple room.
Hare Krishna. May I request the initiates to take their seats, please? No. The ladies can sit to my left. The men on my right, please. Please, everyone, please take your seats. Hare Krishna. Oops. Please take a seat. I know Mother Madhavi Leela is going to get us some seats to sit down. Whatever you have, please use that. For devotees that are paradukha dukhi, you can offer the seats to someone else. Prabhus on one side, please. If possible, all the men on one side.